Hey everyone, we are back for another Dragonheir video, and in this video we'll be going over another event boss. So this time we will be fighting Jathalea. And Jathalea is going to be taking extra radiant damage, so we want radiant heroes mainly. The fight is actually relatively straightforward. I did test a bit to see what would be the ideal team for my account, and this is what I went with. And the interesting thing to note is that whenever you're fighting a boss like this, right, you always want to check the area where they're going to place their skills, right? So this is a single target. Great. This is going to be an AoE, but if you notice, the range is 1, 2, 3. There's 5 tile range and horizontal and 5 vertical, and there are some gaps, right? You want to place your champions, your DPS units in those gaps. So I placed my filter, who has a 3 tile range, so he will be hitting Jathalea here. If I place him here, he's not going to ultimate in this game. That's just how bad it is. But his ultimate is a 3 tile range, so I have to place him here, but he won't get hit, right? And I'm going to go over the free-to-play epics, what best epics to pick from for this fight. I think if you have Garius, you can definitely build him with a lot of resist and place him right here in the center. So he's not taking any poisons from the boss, right? My most tanky champion right now is going to be Sagomir. So I'm going to be placing him in the center. He's going to be providing attack down on the boss, right? And then I have my all units kind of spread out so they don't overlap each other, right? This is what you basically want. You don't want your champions to be in, like, if I place all my DPS units here, she's going to ultimate to these 3 people, that she's going to ignore my defense units, which I don't want. That's why you gotta spread them out as far as possible, so all 3 of them are ranged. Make sure whatever rally units that are going to do damage are ranged units, and that's going to help with your team survivability, and you're going to do more damage. There's obviously, I'm not saying use these champions. Again, this is supposed to be, the advice is supposed to be for all spender levels, irrespective of whether you're free to play or you're, Giga Whale, whatever you are. This is the placement that you would pick. You want range units for sure in this fight. You cannot go in simply with, some of these champions where you, just start placing them willy-nilly. So if you have somebody like Garius, he was excellent for taking all the damage from the boss. He is going to provide himself with the defense up, and you want to build him with a lot of resist, and he's going to be healing himself as well. And yeah, build him with a lot of defense. Just place him right here. And this spot, you can go with another support. For example, you can bring in a Catherine here. So she's going to heal your, provide extra heal to your Garius. You can bring in a single target healer. That's fine for this fight because the backline is not going to take any damage. Even our Laurential is not going to take any damage, so you can be free of that. The problem is finding the right rally units. So for example, what's his name? Jathalea, he's amazing. You have somebody like for attack down, you have Clovis, right? So you can place Clovis here and you can place Catherine here, right? And for the last spot, you can even pick Alvis. Alvis is great. He's going to provide with more damage to your ally, to your rally hero, right? So you have basically a 3+2 comp. You have 3 supports. One is tanking the hits, and the other is going to provide the attack down. And then you have healer, who's going to be here, right? She's going to be providing debuff immunity as well, which is good for this fight. You don't want the poisons on you. But if you're building him with resist, you have a cleanse on him. He can cleanse himself as well. Dispels debuffs from this hero, so it's perfect, right? You don't particularly need another healer in this fight, I would assume. You can probably go in with another DPS. I think the next best option range unit would be Welby, right? So I can place Welby somewhere here. So once I start this fight, only Garius is going to take the damage. And I'm going to showcase it when I use my team, like how this comp works. How the placement actually works, not particularly the comp. But Clovis is going to provide us with the attack down. And you got to make sure that this attack penalty 2 goes up right before the boss's ultimate. That's what's going to really kill your team, right? So just have to manual it. There is no settings here for skill timings, which is a shame. They should have added it. I don't know why they didn't add it, but yeah, that's what we have to go with. So going back into this fight, as long as you place your champions correctly, this is a relatively straightforward fight. So if I place back my filter, Alton, I have a healer and a cleanser. So let's try to run this, and you will see when the boss is going to be ultimating. So if you have Sagomir, definitely use him for attack penalty 2. He's amazing. As you can see, I also have the Witch's Remain on him. And I'll go over the sets that you will need on this fight as well. So for example, if you're building somebody with resist, right, you want the Holy Hunter set on them, or you just build resist normally with them. And we are constantly placing attack down. Initially, you don't have to worry about attack down being placed right before the ultimate, but eventually this will cycle out to be just that. And as you can see, Filter is hitting for 1.5 million in one ultimate. He's one of the highest DPS units in the game. For his ultimate is just staggering. Like, I've seen him hit 1 million per hit, and it hits 3 times if he has rally. And he gets his ultimate very quickly as well. We have Laurential, who's boosting the ultimate gauge, providing rally. We have Alton providing damage bonus or rally. So the team has a lot of synergy within itself, but what you really want in this team, so if you're building your tank who's going to be in resist, say for example Garius, you want a lot of defense and whatever resistance you can get, right? You don't really have to worry about the debuff as long as you're cleansing between this point. So the between the second and the third skill of the boss, if you're cleansing and healing, that's fine. You don't need a lot of resist. Just build him very tanky and with a lot of defense. For your general support, like somebody like, so in my case it's Jathalea. Let's assume you are going to have somebody like Clovis. You just need the accuracy for him. And you also want to build him with a lot of defense, because he will be taking the ultimate hit straight on, because he's a melee unit. If there is an option available for an attack penalty 2 that is range, use that instead. I couldn't find it, but maybe you guys have looked through it better. And as you can see, like through the placements, the 3 DPS placement, whenever she's going to be ultimating, it's only going to affect my 2 tanks, and that is what basically is going to protect my entire team as well, right? And this is what you want. You don't want your DPS, you don't even need the healing on the DPS. I'm just doing the healing because, you know, it's also going to provide me damage bonus since I have the Solar King Horn on it, but you really don't need it for this fight to get to 22 million. This is, I think, relatively straightforward compared to other fights, just because Garius is such a solid tank, and you don't have to worry about the survivability of the rest of your DPS in this fight. It's way too straightforward. And as you can see, like, we just melting the boss right here. We're already at 50 million. Didn't get lucky with the defense down. Laurential is just going to keep boosting that attack and providing rally. And yeah, one other thing, if you have Sagomir, definitely place him in the front, because if he takes blunt of his damage, he's going to cycle through his ability of attack down very quickly. And that's what you basically want in this fight. I wish there was a way to time it so I can just, you know, place it right before the boss ults. It would be much easier for me and everybody. So there you go. Like, he has done like 2 ultimates in this fight, and we cleanse the poison, which is really important because the boss's ult is going to explode the poison. So you really want that cleanse to go right between the second and the third skill of the boss, right before the boss's ultimate, that is. Because on 2 of the battle skills, she's going to be placing the poison, which is going to be, you know, always bad for you. So we're going to be manualing some of those ultimates now from Sagomir, just so the defense down and attack penalty 2, actually, not defense down, is placed right before the boss's ultimate. We don't want this to, you know, end right away. So now I can place this, and we're hitting for 918,000 with filter ult, right? That's per hit, so that's like 2.7 million per hit, roughly close to. Yeah. So filter is great. If you have some of these legendaries, definitely use them. There's no wrong way to like not use them in this fight because they're just too good. There we go. Again, we go with attack penalty 2. And there are some conditions in which my attack penalty 2 doesn't place, and then it's yeah, pretty much a game over for me at that point. But yeah, you have to build with enough accuracy to survive in this fight. So I can place this now because it's a 10 seconds window, and I think we are 7 seconds from the boss's ultimate, so it should be covered. So 918,000 again. And we are already at 84 million. I think we can do somewhere close to 100 million, I guess. Shouldn't be an issue. Right, we place the attack penalty 2. But attack penalty 2 is going to be the basic thing. For the other two skills, since they are single target, you don't have to worry about them too much because Garius is such an amazing tank if you have him. Of course, if you don't have any of the Radiant heroes, you can definitely challenge some other boss because we have only like, I think 3 bosses that we can use. 3 teams that we can use. So I'm going to be try to showcase every team out there. I think the only team that I don't have built is the Frost. So I'll probably challenge that next week when I have enough stamina pots. Not stamina pots, the XP pots to level up my Frost team. But outside of that, I'll be showcasing at least the 5 bosses. I think by tomorrow I'll cover all 5 bosses. And then only one left would be, I think, Beyond Trey. But I already created one for Ripkias and for what's the other one? Ripkias and the other one, Oster. So this is going to be the Jathalea guide. I'm not going to be saving the result because I don't know if I'll be able to challenge the other bosses. But yeah, this is the fight realistically. And if you want to find some champions that are going to do attack penalty, right? So we just go to Radiance and we search with attack penalty 2. That's the most important debuff. As long as you have Garius, this fight is going to be easy. If you don't have Garius, you can take Clovis and Catherine. Clovis being your main tank. There are some other tanks as well, but this guy has attack penalty 1 for some reason. No idea why they do that for epics. This is a reward champion from, I think it's from Faye Meander, if I'm not mistaken, and he also places attack penalty 1, so not really good. Nessa has attack penalty 2 as well, but her stats, I feel like she's a bit more squishy than Clovis. Clovis has a much higher defense, so if you have Clovis, definitely build him. This attack penalty 2 is really going to help you out in the overall progression of this run. And he also places the defense up on himself, which is good. So best tank is still going to be Garius, but you will need Clovis no matter what. So if you have to replace Garius with Catherine to heal him, definitely do that. Just place the way that I had the champions. Once again, I'll showcase the placement. You want your healer here, then Clovis will be in the center. You want to spread this out as much as possible, so only 2 of the units are going to be taking a hit, right? You don't want your DPS units to be taking the hit from the boss's ultimate, just so you want to progress as further as possible. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. I'll catch you guys later.